Brian just took out the green tea, and we're just going to sit here and get all zen-like and calm on outnumbered overtime.
Green tea, that sounds like a cocktail.
Let me
How about
just
a cocktail?
Like serve it up. Oh, tea, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Like, smooth it out.
First off, I want to start this, with your permission, the way we started the show. We legitimately have 4 lead stories, most of which are live and moving during this hour. This doesn't stop. We thought the China visit and maybe the wounded warrior this morning and the president looking back at what he said to the New York Times would be an interesting show.
It would have been.
And it had nothing to do with the show.
Would have been an interesting.
Well, we did talk about China.
Right.
And we did talk about the Chinese president.
But every
coming.
story moved while we were talking.
Well, anytime you have
I want to talk about the Pepsi
what's
ad.
going on. You want to talk about the Pepsi ad?
It was in our, I mean, it was one of our topics.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about it because the Senate was too busy making
Lamest,
history.
most tone-deaf, lame ad of all time.
So I watched the ad.
Yes.
I mean, I understand kind of the outrage over it. Did you see Bernice King's tweet? Woo, about how she wished her father, civil rights leader, who she tweeted out a picture was being manhandled by the police, had known about the power of the soft drink.
I
was like, oh, I didn't know that was power of the soft drink to break up the civil rights unrest.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. Wow.
It's so tone deaf. I mean, when she's she's modeling, and then she whips off the ring,
and she walks backwards.
I mean, it's so tone deaf.
Yeah,
and even the woman with the headscarf, and she's mad, and she's whipping up her pictures.
But did you get the
message?
What is the message of the Pepsi ad?
Pepsi's yummy. I mean, it's so
Here's how wrong I was.
bad.
Here's how wrong I was. I actually thought that Pepsi was getting exactly what they wanted, which was us talking about it and their meet with Coke. And I thought we were playing right into their arms, and instead I find out Pepsi was embarrassed by what they did.
Were they embarrassed, or did they get called on it and they said, oh, wait, no.
How does no
we
one
don't want to
realize
deal
that's
with
a
that.
bad idea? If someone was like, you know, all this political unrest in America right now and how divided we are and a lot of people getting shot, a lot of people rioting, why don't we make this into a Pepsi ad? Right?
Why don't we do with China with the tank at Tiananmen Square?
That was another tweet. Great.
Like
Pepsi
in front of the tank.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's take the most divisive. I mean, you're so right. You hit the nail on the head. Let's take the most divisive issue that gets people really mad that no one agrees about, and let's stick a Pepsi in the middle. What a great idea!
I would almost see it.
And
Kendall Jenner.
Some Michael Brown video and just knock it out of the park.
I know. It's just
so much.
No.
And which of the 50 people that had to see this before it went on the air didn't think, well, maybe that's a bad idea?
Yeah.
I know. But the other thing that kind of hit me with this is the length of the ad.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, I mean, who was going to watch that? Like, you couldn't even Pepsi couldn't afford to put that on during the Super Bowl because that was a beast.
It was a movie.
Yeah.
It was a movie. I'm sure they had all
like several $1 million for a spot.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had all different cut-down versions, and we got to see the uncut director's version.
It was bad.
It was bad.
You think that's what happened?
Yeah, oh, totally. That's how those things work. That's like that ad that they ran during the Super Bowl about the little girl who was like trying to get over the wall into the U.S. and the real movie version was like so long, but the one you saw, she's picking up scraps and she's making the flag, and then they're all sad at the end or whatever. But, I mean, even this ad made that ad look good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like, this may literally be the worst ad I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've been in more than 100 commercials.
So Brian started off with how this day could have literally had 4 top stories. It obviously could have had many more topics to it during our hour, but we went nuclear inside Congress today.
Right. And you know what? I think it's got to go. I know it's going to be devastating on Election Day for any party, but I think we got to do this through legislation, too. We can never get any legislation. You asked President Obama, we never get anything passed. It got every Republican angry, but now all of a sudden when it comes to health care reform, the Republicans...
All right, I'm going to ask it on the live chat. If legislation goes to a simple majority, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask it.
Maybe we'll turn out and vote.
But can I tell you, like, I don't know if Marie does this too, but I do a lot of engagements with young women, trying to get them politically engaged, running for office. There's a huge disconnect between women running for offices compared to men and how we're represented in the Senate and Congress. Saying, like, you should run and get actively involved, but if your party's not in power, you're basically screwed and you're never going to get anything done, is a very difficult message for me to go out and sell to young people.
But do you also think that to get the party to agree on a piece of legislation, as you're seeing with Republicans in health care, that's not a layup either?
I agree. I agree.
I mean, especially...
I've never felt more downtrodden about how our people that are in Congress and the Senate represent us. I have never been more pessimistic than how we are now, and it broke my heart. Broke my heart, healthcare. I'm from Arizona. Arizona is ground zero, 125% premiums. Yeah. Close friends of mine who are in my life calling me with horror stories when I go home after leaving the Fox News building. It breaks my heart we can't get anything done.
Blue Cross is dropping out in 2018.
Yes.
Did you see that today?
Yes.
So I just put out on the live chat, if we go to a simple majority for all legislation, are you okay with that? And people are quickly getting back. Look, I made the point during the show that my main concern with that is that you shut down the voice of the people that already feel like it's only at a whisper as it is now. Because if there's an issue that you feel strongly about, and you figure whichever party's in charge or in power is just going to vote in their perspective, why even go to the polls?
Yes.
Why vote?
Because you want your man or woman to win.
Okay. Yeah, and if they don't do something in terms of what you want, like there were a lot of people who were having their health care ripped away, and they're conservatives, and maybe they didn't like the bill that was being pushed through
And the Freedom Caucus is not represented in Arizona. I mean, that's part of the problem.
That's a good point.
There's a lot of Arizona, and again, Arizona is why I use the example, is it really is the state that has been affected the hardest. And the Freedom Caucus members, there's no one in Arizona that's in the Freedom Caucus. So I think that a lot of people, at least from my perspective and from people I talk to, feel like they've kind of been hijacked
Megan,
a little bit.
You just made a case for what I'm saying we should do with simple majority, because the Freedom Caucus stopped Republicans from getting what they wanted. So guess what they got to do? Go to Democrats if they want to pass anything. So Heidi Heitkamp...
Yeah, but it wasn't just the Freedom Caucus.
They're moderates,
too. They had more than 40, actually up to 60, that they didn't get on board. Those were moderate Republicans,
because they tried to have it both ways.
Moderates were scared, got spooked about what would be in the bill, as did the Freedom Caucus. The point of all of this is nobody's talking to each other or working with each other, and the point about, the singular party as well. I don't know. I am not getting on the bandwagon of having high hopes for this anymore.
Really?
For your health care
or everything?
Because I don't see people like Rand Paul and Justin Amash in any way compromising. Moderates will compromise. We're used to being scapegoated, but I believe that we would have. I really do.
Do you think the president then goes to Democrats? Do you think that House members
moderates,
can go to
the Tuesday group isn't known for being the people of no. That's not the reputation that we have. I mean, I say me just because I am more moderate than obviously people in the Freedom Caucus. I don't adhere to the Tuesday group.
I don't think that's a stretch.
They're only known for saying no. And if you're a group of people who only say no, I don't know. I don't really know what purpose you serve other than an ideological one.
I want to get the voice of the people in 1 second, Maria. And besides, when your name is Barbecue Mike 34, you should probably have a platform.
Barbecue Mike.
So my question again was whether or not we should look at all legislation going simple majority, which is what Brian had suggested. Barbecue Mike 34 says, yes, Harris, it shouldn't have to happen, but you have to get things done and move on. I'm just reading what people have responded back with. We have a very healthy number on the live chat, so you guys be patient with the stream. It will render for you.
Can I just ask, Maria, how much would have been passed the first year and a half if it was President Obama with 60, with the majority in the House and Senate? I mean, there was a lot of legislation lined up that got stopped, right?
There was, but also by this time we had a Recovery Act. We had started moving on a bunch of other bills. Look, Donald Trump has the House and he has the Senate, and we are facing a situation where I don't think they're going to get health care done. I truly don't believe that they're ever going to get health care done. Tax reform, now Republicans are saying they're pushing back to August, maybe into the fall. Infrastructure, I actually don't think is real, and I don't think will ever happen. We are looking at a situation where Republicans have control of all three of those branches, and if we get to December and head into 2018 with no major legislative accomplishments,
disaster.
I think it is going to politically be a disaster.
No, absolutely.
I already think the attack ads have already written themselves with the Obamacare repeal.
So how do they right the ship right now?
They have to get together and make a deal. I mean, they have
to
all realize.
And I'll say this,
I think infrastructure is the easiest. I think that's where you get started.
You think Schumer comes on board with that?
Yeah, I think Schumer, but he is going to lose Republicans who care about spending and deficit neutral spending.
On the money part.
No, because he has good ideas about how to privatize part of it. I mean, if you look at the way those are structured, doing toll roads like you have in Virginia. I mean, there are, trust me, me, there are people in the money world right now licking their chops and setting up deals to try and invest in the infrastructure.
Melissa,
he knows how to do that.
Schumer gave him the Democrats' version of their infrastructure bill. He says they haven't read it yet. So why don't you take a few pages? I mean, say this is where it takes. Chuck, I saw your bill. I'm going to take the first 20 pages. I think I'm going to do this.
I want to give the people a voice. Southside 631. I'm not okay with a simple majority vote, but it's not like those in power listen to me anyway.
Oh God.
We just read you says maybe it's time to eliminate the parties altogether to a one-party system. Matlock 12C. Americans, the liberal tide.
What party would that be?
Americans, the liberal tide has been turned into the SCOTUS.
The Anglo party
has turned in the SCOTUS. I just wanted to give everybody a voice.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.